Islamic State militants have burned to death 45 people in the Iraqi town of al-Baghdadi. That's according to local officials. They say some of the victims were members of the security forces. Militants captured the town, which is located near an airbase, last week. The massacre follows the execution of a Jordanian pilot in a similar manner, which sparked outrage in his home country. But as Beltrue now reports, there are supporters of the jihadi group, even inside Jordan.
Jordan's response to the Islamic State group's brutal murder of its captured pilot was swift.
The revenge will be as big as the calamity that has hit Jordan.
But as the country launches airstrikes in Syria, the leadership faces a bigger threat back at home: support for extremist groups here. According to a September poll, as much as 10% of the country does not think ISIS are terrorists.
This is Zarqa. It's one of the poorest cities in Jordan and a hotbed for Islamic extremism. It's also the hometown to one of Jordan's most famous jihadis, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, who set up an al-Qaeda group in Iraq that was the precursor to the so-called Islamic State. Now, many of the estimated 1,500 Jordanians who've gone to fight jihad in Syria and Iraq come from here. Despite this, the horrific acts of violence perpetrated by ISIS, including the burning of the Jordanian pilots, there is still growing support for the group here and in other underdeveloped cities across the country.
Abu Muhammad's son was detained last week for allegedly supporting ISIS after he bought a mug with their flag on it. Abu Muhammad says soaring unemployment is to blame. It's at 40% in his area.
There are a lot of extremists here. Joblessness is to be blamed, as it leaves you two options: become a religious fanatic or a thug.
The Jordanian government has launched a fierce crackdown, jailing hundreds of suspected jihadis like Mohammed for liking Facebook pages, sharing the burning video and having pro-jihadi merchandise. But rights advocates say this will only exacerbate the problem, and the state should focus on educating vulnerable youth, not fighting wars in Syria.
The government is pushing the public to go to war that isn't even ours. Our war is here at home.
But the government is likely to step up its attacks on ISIS in Syria and Iraq.
I think our reaction to them is going to intensify in the coming weeks and months. So all options are open for Jordan.
But with rising support for extremists within the Jordanian population, the country may find its biggest fight yet is at home. Beltrue for RT Amman.